It's a celebration.
Uh,
It's
all
an
right.
inauguration. Hey, everybody. Happy Inauguration Day.
Happy
What's up?
President Day.
New president. Who this? Who
New
this?
president. It feels like a whole new world. You know what I'm saying? From
Oh,
what we've been living under for the last 4 years, it feels like we in a different country, in a new world. Like we got a lot of stuff popping today. It feels good.
I know. It
It
feels
feels
good.
like the sun came out.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's not for a moment. Hopefully it's for a
Right.
long time.
for a long time.
Yes. But for those of you who don't know, I don't know how you could know if you're living under a rock. We had a new president today. So this is our first episode under the new Biden-Harris administration. So we're all very, well, most of us, all of us, possibly, we'll talk about it, are excited about this new venture these next 4 years. So I just want to go around really quickly, and I'll start with you, Jasmine. What was probably your highlight for the day in terms of what you saw during the inauguration and all the festivities?
It was the fashions for me. I mean, the coats, the jewel tones, I loved it. And Kamala and Michelle's suits were both made by Black designers, so
Yeah.
shout out to them.
Absolutely, yeah. What about you, Christian?
For me, I guess it's like the whole. I mean, she already got into the fashion, so I definitely would say that. But for myself, would probably have to be just the overall, transition period. Understanding that like we actually got a new president. There are little things I want to talk about later in regards to the actual inauguration. The overall theme of just Harris, it just I was crying today. I'm sorry to say that. I had to shed a few tears because we've come a long way. So really seeing Harris into that role. So yeah,
Definitely. What about you, Lawrence?
Yeah, I was just excited about the whole transition. I'm like out with the old. We've been done with the Twitter rants, but just understanding that this presidency is going to be a lot more like the norm. And I think that's a good thing. I thought it would be a bad thing. And also, like Democrats usually get the bad rap of being like the party against economic empowerment or like the party against money. But I like the action that came down too, because like today, the presidential administration, one of their first acts was extending student loan like freeze until October. So as a person with a ton of student loans, not having to pay for another 8-9 months, that's amazing. 8, 9, 10 months. So.
And I got my stimulus today, so
you got that stimmy.
We love to see it.
Okay.
What about you, Ms. Gigi?
I just like the representation. I think that seeing a vice president, specifically a Black woman, that definitely for a lot of people gave motivation. And also Amanda Gorman, she was the youngest representative, I guess, poet to ever perform at an inauguration. And her words were just so powerful. Like she was like, we waved the belly of the beast. I was like, oh, child. And then she was like, we've learned that quiet doesn't always mean peace. And we can take that a variety of different ways, but her words were so powerful. And just to see that in a presidential inauguration, I think was inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I would say the whole thing I thought was really good. It was really dope. Biden, he seemed like he was ready to work. Like they just seemed like they just were laser focused and they were ready to get to work. It was definitely different from previous inaugurations because it wasn't the parades and all that. So that was a bit bittersweet. But definitely, Kamala, my open girl, she out there doing it. So I was really excited to see her. She looked great. Her family looked great. Everybody kept pointing out, I think her nephew or somebody who had on So it just shows, it's a new day, it's a new time. And one of the Amanda Gorman quote, I really love this quote. I don't know if you guys caught what she said. We aren't broken, we're just unfinished. That really stuck out to me, and it just says a lot. And I think I posted it, and I was getting some kind of feedback in regards to: Are we broken? Are we not broken? Is her comment accurate? And for me, to say that something is broken would mean it would have to have been completed and would have to have been whole first, right? I don't think America has ever been completed and has been whole. So to think we're just not finished yet, I thought that was really powerful. So shout out to her. Oh, she's also from Cali too. Cali is definitely in the building.
She's from LA.
Yeah, that was really dope. But yeah, so Christian, you said you had some thoughts in regards to the overall inauguration.
Yeah,
definitely today.
I want to get into it. All right, let's rock and roll. So in regards to the singing, okay, so this is a whole other the whole nother field. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but you know, Lady Gaga, I'm sorry. I feel like she was just so extra, like very like overly dramatic. I like the whole outfit, but you know, it wasn't the singing for me. And then J Lo, you know,
how do you feel about J Lo singing? Can we talk about that?
You know, I have a family discussion, and we were just thinking like she reminds the children's choir, and you know, it was just not the best, and so kudos to and then Garth Brooks too. You know, it was interesting. It wasn't my favorite. However, you know, for that moment and occasion, you know, kudos to them. And then what else? I like the preacher at the end. I loved Amanda Gorman. Like you said earlier, she's from LA, so that's amazing. Plus, she's young, black and gifted. And I loved her whole ensemble, her outfit choice, and you guys can talk about that. And then I would have to say Mike Pence was actually a little classy today for not leaving like Trump did. Trump was like, please get out. I'm not coming to anything. So I'll have to give it for Mike Pence for actually showing up and showing partisanship. So I'll leave with that.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. How do you guys feel about Trump's exit? Like, I don't know if you saw his little baby speech or you saw his family crying tears as he was leaving. Did you feel that was the right move for him to not be there at all, or do you wish he would have stepped up?
Trump is going to Trump. I just feel like bye, we don't even care no more. But I do like that Pence went on with the pomp and circumstance. Like, that's what we need. We need some kind of sense of normalcy. So I appreciate that from him. I'm interested in what he thinks his career is going to look like after this, because I don't think he thinks that means he's forgiving. I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Lawrence?
Do I have it here?
Oh.
I don't even know if I got it. I was going to get it. I don't know where it went, but I was about to pop my grill in. I was going to say, he didn't show up, but he let my boy Kodak Black out. You know what I'm saying? Free the kid. You know, I was excited to see that. So apparently, like, Lil Wayne's lawyer is also Kodak Black's lawyer. So the lawyer got in contact and let him out. So I was like, hey, you know, good written, good gone. I didn't want to see him at the inauguration because, like, what was he going to do? He wasn't going to shake people's hands. He was going to do his weird little hand thing. You know, I didn't want to see none of that. So I'm glad he left. I was like, come as you come, leave as you leave. It's over. And like, I felt like this was the equivalent of him being blocked on Twitter. Like, just be blocked. Like, let's just forget about him. But I can't. I was just when Kodak Black. I was playing the music all night. I was excited. So I wasn't upset. I don't think he needed to perform in any of those like traditional ways because he didn't his entire presidency. This was just true to who I believe Trump to be.
You know? Right. What about you, Ms. Gigi?
I mean, there was a lot of things that I liked. I already mentioned Amanda Gorman, but I also liked Andrea Hall. Like, she was the captain. She's been the captain of, I guess, Fulton County, I think, for 16 years, or Albany Fire Department for like 16 years. And so I love that she led the national anthem, and I love that there was just so much representation there, and she didn't have to do too much. But like, I know I was like researching, I was like, wait, who is this? And doing the research and just giving spotlight to women of color is also what I really enjoyed. And then I also liked, I'm not gonna lie, this probably sounds vain, but Michelle Obama's hair and that outfit.
I got the name of the salon in DC, girl, if you need it. I got the
She was giving me everything. Like, the walk in and then the swag of President Obama. It was just black excellence. Like, black excellence. I know it was Joe Biden's inauguration, but I couldn't help but notice. And then
right, you on it.
It's so funny because anytime George Bush is there, he's gonna find Michelle Obama. It is
Always.
not a question. I'm talking about
He having candies in his pocket for it.
listen, he's gonna find her
Not
wherever
the candies in the pocket.
every presidential, every political where she's there and he's there, they're gonna have a photo. They're gonna have a
I
photo.
wonder how they bonded. I wonder what it was.
I
Was
don't
it
know.
but they was at the ball and they just had that 1-2 step. I don't know. I need to know.
He's gonna find her, and I think that that's what I love about it. You know, he's from Texas. I mean, let's not talk about his presidency, you know, but he is from Texas, and then you just see the bond that they have. You know what I mean? So it was the representation for me, and that's one reason why I wore my Clark Atlanta sweatshirt, because we know she went to an HBCU as well. Our new VP, and so I definitely wanted to represent today on behalf of that.
Dope. We're going back to the Trump topic with him being there or not being there, and with Pence, as you guys mentioned, Pence kind of stepped up. I'm not gonna lie, in a weird, awkward way, I feel like I'm gonna slightly miss Trump, just because it's a conversation starter. Just because I like talking about him and making fun of him. That's the only reason. I'm dang, like,
well, you know, he said he's going to start his own party.
Boring now. Do you guys feel like politics are going to be pretty boring?
No, because we still need to hold them accountable.
I'm going to miss him as a president. I'm saying just he's not on social media anymore. I'm not.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Yeah, it's like silence. And you know, even if you have something that you don't like in your atmosphere, without it being there, you're kind of like.
I just see it because at least with him, I'm able to research certain things.
Yeah,
like he was so blunt. I'm like, what? I
definitely feel like you learned a lot because of
I learned so much.
It's only been a day, and y'all already missing him. Like what?
No. Thank you, Christian. Thank you. I don't know what's going on.
No,
I don't know what's going on. Man.
She understands. She understands.
I'm validating her.
Think about it, you guys. All the comedians, all the late night comedians. Who are they going to talk about now? Biden's not that funny.
But we had jokes before Trump. You know, we'll come up with something. I got you free. We'll come up with something. And I think it's on people like us, you know, the young urban professionals, to make politics engaging. I think what Trump did was he just infuriated a lot of people with lies and fake news. And yes, it was low hanging fruit. It's easy to make a Trump joke. It's easy to make a conversation topic. But now it's on us, because we're the ones preaching, like, stay involved in your local politics, get involved with your local politicians. It's on us to, like, really seek out and search some of the less charismatic people. And I agree with you. That's what you're saying. Like, he had a TV show, you know what I'm saying? Before he became president, he was an interesting, charismatic, whatever person. And I would like to see more figures like that in politics, not so much, you know, of the lies, but like Obama was charismatic, you know what I mean? Like, so politics can be fun and entertaining and stuff. There are other like political figures that I find like really interesting, but yeah, it's going to be a little more difficult, but it's on us to promote that. Like, we should, you know, we got to put them out there.
I think we have a lot of Congress people that we can look at now. Like, I'm excited to see Cori Bush's career.
Yeah.
Love ALC. Still want to see her grow. So I think we don't have to necessarily look at the president right now, because yes, that's a snooze fest. But I'm looking forward to seeing Congress and, you know, see what they're doing.
Yeah. What about you, Christian?
In regards to, what was the question again?
No, I just, if you had a response to what I said about me, kind of the presence of Trump is going to be slightly.
Exactly, it goes right over my head. I really don't care. I didn't follow Trump while he was in office, because it was just too much, right? And that's a lot of rhetoric from a lot of my friends, being in like the different political circles that we're in. And I personally am not bothered. I don't care. Like, let's move on and let's try to deal with the that we got, and we'll have fun with that. You know, they're going to be making mistakes. They're going to be doing all that kind of crazy stuff too. But to have just a supremacist and a bigot and all these other words, I'm glad he's gone. So,
well, do you think that his prosecution and his legal cases will take the news, or do you think the media will be responsible and silence him?
I think they're going to probably follow it for sure. Would I like to, you know, see it? I guess yes. I really just hope that they prosecute. You know, that's the whole thing with actually getting down a conviction. Now, I just am not. I'm just not a big Trump fan like that, you know. Like I don't think none of us are, and I don't really care about this story, to be truthful. So if it's on the news, I'm gonna watch it. I don't have cable, so you know, hopefully it comes on Netflix or something, or on Hulu, or wherever. But if it comes in my news,
it would be great TV.
It'd be great TV. Yeah, definitely.
The whole family probably gonna get a reality show. Honestly, they're probably gonna be the next Kardashians or something.
And you know, Tiffany got engaged yesterday.
Oh, I know that.
She did to this. It's interesting who she got engaged to, but that's neither here nor there. But she had to rebuttal all the conversation around her engagement and say, like, read the room. It's the whole presidential inauguration that's happening, and y'all worried about my engagement. So I think that was interesting that people still care about Tiffany.
Well, our producer also made mention of the fact that Bernie was kind of the laughing, the ongoing joke. In
Bernie.
Bernie just looked like he did not want to be bothered.
He had things to
do a job, and that was it. Good old Bernie, you know. So maybe we do have a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I do want to hop into what we think is next. As you know, like I said earlier, and some of you have mentioned, Biden and Harris kind of just went in and they were ready to go. They signed 17 new legislative pieces today. So Biden's first 100 days, he talked about it. He said all of the things that he was going to be implementing, all the things that he wanted to take care of right away. COVID, of course, at the top of the list, making sure he put all the mandates on in terms of being on federal ground, you have to wear a mask. I didn't realize that wasn't already a mandate, which is crazy. So yeah, I just want to throw it out there. So what do you guys think about the first 100 days and some of the policies and things that he's implementing? I heard Lawrence mention the student loan interest would not be occurring until October, I believe.
Yeah, so no interest and no payments due. So, you know, you can stack your money, put that somewhere else, do something with it. That's important to me. I have a ton of student loans, so, you know, I'm going to be following that. Also, they made that comment about like the $600 only being the down payment. I'm awaiting to file my taxes until I get my extra $1,200. That's when I'll file after they cash me out what they said they were going to do. The COVID protocols, you know, he has a task force. I feel like our country will go in a different direction from where we were before. I think Trump later on in his presidency, right around election time, he really got hard on COVID because he saw that it was a real issue and he couldn't just sweep it under the rug. So I feel like he was trying. He lost because of that, because the people were dying. He said completely ridiculous things like, you know, it'll be over by over by Easter or something, like you'll be able to go to church on Easter Sunday. So I feel like we'll go in a different direction. There'll be more mandates for masks. I'm excited to get more vaccines out there. Hopefully we can like curb COVID within the next 6 months. Like I used to be one that was optimistic too, but I think a 6 to 8 month time period. Other than that, like I still want to keep my foot on the gas with criminal justice reform too. There are tangible projects and easy things that the president can do. I know he's already started with that, but I want to see some ability or new legislation proposed to be able to come after cops that kill innocent people or unarmed people. I want to see legislation that does way more in urban communities to stem the ridiculous prison industrial pipeline. So there's a lot of stuff. And I think that we are more engaged than ever before. As Christian was talking about last episode, Atlanta will show you that right now we have people on the ground willing to put money in order to turn a red state blue. People are active. They're going out and voting. So I have a lot of faith that the community that helped elect President Biden will also still be there and hold him accountable. So I think we'll have a lot. Oh, Alexa, stop. See, Alexa listening.
Oh, girl.
Scary.
But yeah, so I think the first 100 days will be good. I think we got to keep, you know, the foot on the gas, but I think that will happen. What do y'all think?
I agree.
So eloquent. I mean,
covered almost everything.
Well, you know, I'm excited. He did say that his priorities are immigration. He opened up the ban for Muslim countries today, which was very important. I don't have any family there, but in Muslim countries, but I think that was the most racist thing ever. So glad that happened. And then climate change also. He said he's going to prioritize that in the first 100 days. So that's what I'm looking forward to see what legislation he has in the works.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have anything within the first 100 days? Anything you're really hoping that they accomplish?
I mean, the student loans is definitely one of them. And I do have a lot of friends in different countries. And so I think that the immigration is going to be key. He actually talked about this on January 1st, but for people that aren't citizens, they get like a 5-year green card if they decide to like pay their taxes and if they qualify. And then from there, 3 years after, they're able to actually apply for their citizenship. And so that is kind of like an 8-year, 8-year process, but it's better than just kind of having them deported out of the country. So I'm interested to see kind of the how that process will work in regards to taxes and how much they will have to pay. I do plan on checking in with them, but it allows them more time to get their paperwork together. I know some of my friends were really nervous under the Trump administration just about how things were going and how deportation was going, and even ICE, how prevalent ICE was in regards to deporting people back to their countries. And so since Biden has implemented that, it would be interesting to kind of see how that works. And then the student loans, I think is great because, I love talking about generational wealth and I do want to buy a home one day. And so if that is extended till October, like he said, that will definitely allow people to qualify for more so they can, purchase homes in the future. I do think that home buying is really important and investing is really important. So hopefully this will allow some of us who do have those student loans to be able to, to purchase some homes. So I don't know, we'll see. But that is kind of what I'm interested in seeing. Maybe I can pay down some debt.
I have a quick question for y'all.
Yeah.
Where do you think all of these QAnon, what I call tiki torch whites, that were like chasing Biden around when he was in his campaign bus in Texas, and I know we all kind of live in different places in the country. Yeah,
It was
it was chasing them down, man. What are they going to do now? Like,
go by without one shot to Texas. Okay.
where are their leaders? I mean, like, what are they going to do? They were just at the inauguration, storming the Capitol, not the inauguration, but storming the Capitol the other day. They didn't disappear, and I don't think they're just going to stop believing the stuff they believe. So what do you think is going to happen with them within the next 100 days or year?
I think they still need to. That's one of the things. I need them to drain Congress and figure out who they need to take out of Congress. But I think that they're still trying to plot.
Yeah.
He said that they are on the watch and they're going to have National Guards here way beyond this week.
I think they're going to be restructuring their plan. Since Trump is no longer on any social media platforms, it's going to be harder to communicate to the masses about the objectives or goals that he has. So I think that even the QAnon people and a lot of their pages have been taken off of social media. So it's going to be a lot harder for them to be able to communicate. So I think they're probably going to be restructuring to see the best way to get their information out. I wouldn't be surprised if they started to have a heavier prevalence or I guess presence on Clubhouse, because Clubhouse is definitely the new social media app and people are already having fake pages. So it's going to be harder to track versus like a Facebook or Instagram. So I do think they're going to be a little bit more creative on getting that information out.
Yeah, and I think that they aren't necessarily reliant on social media or what Trump says. I think it's they tried to kill the governor of Michigan. So I think it's very localized, just how the KKK is localized. I think that we have to remember that they can go meet in person because they don't believe in masks and social distancing anyway. So I think they're still plotting.
And what's funny too, I don't think we really realized, we saw all these people that were at the mall, that were at the Capitol, storming the Capitol. I don't think any of the leaders of the Proud Boys, any of the people that we know are like bona fide historical racists that have the power, that are actually speaking these lies to people, they weren't there. But they're the ones that actually,
the oath keepers that were.
Yeah, they're the gatekeepers, and they have their foot in the door, and they were the ones in cahoots with Trump and other people that are in government. We don't know per se exactly who yet, but we do know that they did fire some of the Capitol officers that were there for being complacent with the insurrectionists. It's kind of scary. Like, honestly, when Biden got out of the car and when Kamala and Biden, they were walking to the White House today, I was a little nervous, to be completely honest. Like, and it's sad that we feel that way, that we have to have all of the National Guard and all these, everything has to be barricaded. And they keep saying that DC right now looks like
normal
zero for or Iraq, so it's really crazy.
Yeah, I think they're planning in silence too. I mean, we didn't know nothing about the coup, so they're probably text messaging right now. Come on, boys, we got to get them. So they're probably plotting and planning behind the scenes. Those that what is it? Practice or strategize for war, they strategize for peace, and so same thing for war. They're strategizing behind the scenes that we don't even know about. So I am to see how it plays out these first 100 days and see what's going to happen. I know I have a congressman in my area, Mike Garcia. He actually, didn't sign the document or whatever it was to impeach to impeach Donald, number 45. So, there are people that are in our own local societies that still believe that, Donald Trump was good. So, yeah.
You know what? I do, I know in the 100 days, I read something that said he does plan to implement 100 million vaccines to the American people. And then, with the vaccines rolling out, things are going to start opening up a little bit more, like schools, and maybe even, some of us may have to even go back to work in the office. I'm wondering, what are you guys' feelings about potentially having to take the vaccination, or even kids having to take the vaccination in order to go back to school or to work?
Lawrence.
I want to go back to work. I wanted to go back to work like in the beginning, like the first 4 or 5 months. I was like, I'm a people person. I'm an extrovert. I used to like my drive to work, blasting music in the car. I used to have like time to myself. But once I had to like work through that and like transition my life, I don't need to go back anymore. So I'm going to keep trying to push it off. Like my job, we're working from home now. And when they ask me, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to be the last person back in. I'm voting with all the people. We need to be 100% safe. So let's just try work again in 2022. Like you don't even just, we've already done it long enough. Just take off, travel, enjoy your life. The kids, I do feel bad for, right? Because understanding our communities of color, we already have students that aren't privy to the best education because of the funding in certain areas. And so they're already lacking there. And then you have issues with access to laptops, access to technology in order for them to learn. Then you have access problems with people at home, growing up in communities where it's not stable and it's hard for them to focus. On top of just being a kid and needing to like sit in front of a camera for 8 hours, which is almost impossible. So I do feel, I don't have kids, but nieces and nephews, I think we do need to come up with a program where kids maybe get vaccinated first because they need that interpersonal communication, interaction, and stable learning environment. But again, for me, I'm good. 2022. Other than that, y'all want to go on vacation? I'll meet y'all in Tulum or something. We good.
Tulum, Lord Jesus.
What about the rest of you guys? Because I think it's interesting because Lawrence, like you said, the reason why I asked the question is because a lot of us have gotten comfortable. Like I'm like, back to the office. What's that? So are you telling me I can work from anywhere? I could be in Jamaica. I could be where. I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but I'm saying I have the option to. So I don't know. It is interesting. I don't know, Sharika. I saw your face when I asked.
No, Kristen was about to say something.
You can go, Sharika, if you want to. I don't mind sharing the flow.
I enjoy it. That's all I have to say. Yeah, I just enjoy it.
I've been working from home before the pandemic.
I was working from home before it, so I just feel like everybody's just kind of on my level, and then my level is acceptable right now. So but I don't have kids. If I had kids, I'd be going crazy, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But what about on set, Sharik? You've been on set during the pandemic.
Been on set.
Not like on set, but you've been doing your thing, bitch. We see the videos.
I get it. No, for sets that it has been really weird. Because there's a lot of social distancing. I really do feel for the gig economy, really, really, really. Especially in production. Art directors and things like that. I do have friends that work on sets that are hairstylists. They're on the Paramount lot, which is right down the street. And it's very stressful for them. It's very, very stressful for them. And then they have to constantly get get tested every single week or every 2 weeks or so. But I think overall we've adjusted. What I will say is I've noticed an increase of productions moving to Atlanta.
Right.
Since this has all happened. Like somebody actually hit me up and asked me if I wanted to be interviewed for Voyage ATL. And I'm like, I'm not in Atlanta. How? Who recommended me? I feel like somebody's secretly plotting to get me to move to Atlanta because I'm getting all these job offers in Atlanta for production. And I'm like, child, I want to stay my black behind in California. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Here's the thing. This is the thing. California is definitely shifting. And I think that some people are seeing the shift and some people aren't seeing the shift. But California, especially for entertainment, is definitely shifting because a lot of things are closed and productions are moving to Atlanta. So I do have a lot of friends in the entertainment industry and they're struggling right now. Do I stay in California or Atlanta? And my friends that were originally going to move to LA are like well, what I'm going to move to LA for? Everything that I wanted to do, they're doing right here in Atlanta. So there's a shift. And even when I talked about the 100 million vaccination Biden's plan in the next 100 days, one of the centers for COVID testing is actually going to be turned into a place where they're going to be giving out 12,000 vaccinations a day. I want to say, I don't know if that is I have to double check. I want to say that is it the Fair Park? It's like the Fair Park. It's like a really big facility in California. Is it the stadium? I know it's either the Fair Park or the stadium, but they're going to be giving out the plan.
I think it's the stadium.
Huh?
I think it's the stadium.
Okay, yeah. I knew it was.
Yeah, I think it was Dodgers.
Yeah, their plan is to give out 12,000, to vaccinate 12,000 people a day, and that is to open up the economy. And so for people of color, I wonder where that will leave them, because a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to get this vaccination, but I want things to be open. And it's like, how are you going to decipher when you're going to get that? Chris McClain says Disneyland and Universal will be hosting too. I think. Hey, Chris. He's such a great
it's interesting you said that.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting.
It's interesting you say that because in Miami or South Florida, a lot of the doctors aren't getting the vaccine. So if your doctors aren't getting the vaccine, then why am I a patient getting the vaccine in Florida? However, back to if I can go shopping or if I can be out and about, I think they're not going to make mandates that strict.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They'll either say, yeah, do you have the vaccine or do you have a mask? They can't make me do both.
Employers can make it a part of, as a private company, they can say, oh, we don't want you coming back to work unless X, Y, and Z, you have this. I want to know, Chris,
had that problem.
Are you tired of distance learning as a professor, or do you enjoy the distance learning and working with your students from afar?
Exactly. That's where I was going to chime in at. As an educator, I really didn't like teaching from home. I don't really like taking online classes, me personally. So to teach them is a whole different ball field. But as time progressed, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Just got to wake up and, get dressed and put up my little area and we good to go, But it's still that interpersonal relationship that I miss. So like face-to-face, being in the classroom, you're able to build a little bit more. I like talking to people face-to-face. So I am definitely going to miss that because I'm just a people person. That's the only downfall of it. I will say, because education is a big business, if we look at it like that, the institution itself, for them to spend over $130 billion to reopen schools, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable about putting our children back into schools just yet. I would say wait another 6 months, 9 months, a year. I personally am not going to take the vaccination just yet. I'm going to wait a few more months to see side effects and see what's going on. I do know other people, doctors, essential workers that have taken it, and they're doing good, right? But I still, just me personally, I guess maybe I got trust issues. And as a person of color, that's a part of our community. We just have trust issues.
For good reason, though. For good reason. It's not like we just have,
Right.
Exactly. So, you got to look at people versus profit. And I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with putting children back into the schools yet. So now with work, as grown adults, we have that choice. And so I'd rather work from home personally.
I do think that there's a psychological perspective, though. Like, even if tomorrow they were like, no masks are mandated, psychologically, when I see a person cough or sneeze, I'm like, ooh, even
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So even when I was at the eye doctor today, like getting my little consultation, like he coughed, and I was like, oh, you're making me a little nervous. And he was like, don't worry, I've got my first dose of the COVID vaccination. I get mine next week. But like,
That don't mean
it's
nothing to me.
Yeah.
but does that mean that you don't have it? I didn't go into that rabbit hole with him, but psychologically, I'm thinking to myself, I've seen people, and I even have a nurse friend, and she was like, yeah, and she did get her first dose, but she was like, yeah, fortunately, even if you get your second dose, people are still getting it. So I think he said that to comfort me, but I still wasn't comforted. And I think that even if things, quote unquote, go back to normal, there's still a psychological perspective that is always going to be there due to the last year we've just had.
Yeah,
What do you guys think about that, though?
Yeah, I think it's gonna take a while. Like, unfortunately, we're not going to be where we were at in 2019 New Year's. We're not going to feel comfortable as a society just going into large gatherings and spaces. I'm a big sports fan, and so I can imagine like going back to a football game or a basketball game. Before you used to go and then you used to cheer with the person left of you, right of you, you're drinking beers, you're high fiving everybody. And that's just not the society that we're going to be in. Like, even if I go to a game, I'm not just going to be high fiving random people. I'm not going to be hugging a random person. So unfortunately, it's going to take a while. I see it taking, half a decade. And I also think of like concerts, going to Coachella. Like, that was it. Everybody's just on top of each other. I had a great experience going to see Beyonce. We're all cheering. You was there. I'll tell you, weekend too. But so like, even just thinking back to that, I couldn't imagine 1,000 people, everybody on top of each other, jumping up and down. So with the vaccine, they say that depending on which one you get, it's 90% effective. But then there are going to be people that don't get the vaccine, and we don't know if it's going to mutate. We're talking about different strands now. We don't know if the vaccine is going to be effective against the strand, all the strands. We don't know if we're going to have to get these shots every year. So there's just so much in flux that we don't know yet. My faith is in the fact that we're still investing a lot of money and interest into it. So just because we got the vaccine, it's not like people have stopped trying to like come up with different cures or different medications that'll help. But it's just sad. I don't see things going back to normal or like pre-COVID for at least 5-6 years.
Lawrence, do you feel as though this new administration could make a change? Do you feel like it's going to be a big difference now that Biden is in office? Or do you guys, and this is for all of you actually, do you guys think it's just kind of going to fizzle out naturally? Do you think Biden and Harris being in office now is going to have a huge impact on how we move forward in relation to the vaccine and the virus?
Well, like, as much as Trump was out here saying that it didn't exist and don't wear masks, I think when it comes to the financial aspect, he was cutting red tape to let like private companies come up with cures. So I don't think it's much more we can do in that aspect. It's not like Trump was slowing down people from trying to come up with a cure. So it's just literally going to take time. It's going to take time for us to come up with a really good cure. It's going to take time for us to get those vaccinations out to everyone in the world. And then sometimes I just got to put on my like, super liberal hat and be like, it's selfish of us to think about ourselves, because there are people around the world, like, we might get it within the next year, but what about people in, rural areas of Africa, rural areas of Asia or something? And so it's still going to be traveling around the world. It's sad, but it's going to take time.
Yeah. Christian, I saw you nodding your head. What do you think about my question?
Yeah, I think like Lawrence was saying, in regards to like global vaccinations and understanding the idea of is just, I don't know, expanding and whatnot. I think that we are going to have to put a pause on traveling. I heard February 15th, in order to come back into America, you have to show a negative test. And so, the restrictions are going to keep coming. I think that Biden and Harris are going to tackle it for sure. Because at the end of the day, it is a real thing. People are losing their lives. They're dying every day. And so for us to be as, I don't want to say, what's the word? I don't want to say we're not as handling it with care as we should, but there is also a level that we need to step it up with. I know I've traveled out of the country. Lord forgive me. I've traveled to Georgia. I've traveled to a couple places, but I came back very COVID, safe. But it is also the fact that it is personal responsibility that we're going to have to hold up to as well. So I think with the Biden-Harris administration, they're going to push it a little bit more stronger, and I think we need it.
What do you think, Jasmine?
I think it all depends on where they're allocating their dollars. I think that they can invest in the vaccine and keep investing in the science, which I think they'll do. But I think it's also important if they invest in the infrastructure. So with that saying, if they set up office rooms differently, or they keep changing the way work is, and we go in for just meetings. So I think finding these solutions for private companies, giving them the resources for small businesses to do what they have to do to maintain their businesses. I think that in this administration, we'll see a new cultural norm that we're working with in COVID, whether we're actually getting the vaccine and everyone's going to get the vaccine or not.
Yeah.
And then it was the question earlier about like who gets the vaccine when. California phased it out into different phases. So I think it's like phase 1A, phase 1B, phase 2. And I think children with disease, like pre-existing conditions, were in phase 1B. So they're not even prioritizing children right now for the vaccine.
It's definitely interesting to see how they're prioritizing vaccines in different states, because like in New York, it's like people want to take it, but they're like, no, you can't take it unless you have, like they said they were giving it to like the elderly first. And I was like, oh, okay. And so in places like California, it's like a lot of people that I know that are in the medical system and that are not are still getting the vaccination, and they're able to take it. So it's interesting to see how each state is actually doing the vaccinations. But I also think it's interesting that I know a lot of people that have had COVID and recovered, and we talked about herd immunity. I can't even remember, maybe a couple of episodes ago, because Atlanta, they're popping in Atlanta. And so when you think about that, for those individuals that are like, I'm not going to get the vaccination because I've already had COVID and I've recovered from it. And then you have people saying, well, go get it. It's kind of like, how do you convince individuals that have already had it and have recovered, that didn't go to the hospital, to get this vaccination, saying that it's supposed to cure you, especially if those individuals have already heard that people are still unfortunately getting COVID even with the vaccination. So I just think that's a really tough conversation to have. And my hope is that, it's not we get all these restrictions if we don't, if we decide, or individuals decide not to take it. I just hope that they're not restricted from certain things. But it'll be interesting to see how everything rolls out for sure.
Yeah, these 100 days are definitely going to be interesting. Jasmine, you're about to say something?
I was saying that just because things are open, because California, I guess they just closed, but as much as things are open, the morgues are still overfilled and there's no room in hospitals. So I think that, yes, it's a lot of personal responsibility and we can go out, but I think it is still important to realize that COVID is actually still killing people, whether you're getting it or not. And I have friends who have gotten COVID. Some of them are saying, well, I got it already. Like, I can't get it again, or I got it already and I'm scared the next time I get it, I am going to die. So I think it's all about perspective and personal choice. But I think we should remember that 600,000 people have died from COVID.
And it's serious. I remember I got a cold, like I got a stomach flu. And like I've been COVID cautious, I wear my mask and stuff. I got a stomach flu one day. I swear to you, I was scared to death. I was like, I don't want to die. I had like 102 fever. I thought it was over for me. And then like that was like a wake up call for me. Thankfully I didn't. I got tested multiple times. I didn't have COVID. But it's a wake up call, like, I'm saying, it's serious. A lot of the narrative, especially in the beginning, was like, if you're elderly or if you have a existing condition. But I know people that have gotten COVID that have had horrible effects that are young and healthy and that have been like bedridden. Also, there's no evidence. We don't know if you can get COVID twice. Like,
Right.
we just don't know. Science doesn't know. So even if you've gotten it before, maybe you should get the vaccine. Maybe, so like, I know we all have our personal choices. I just think what Jasmine said is really, really important, that a lot of people have died. And I think we should all do the best that we can. Balancing that, honestly, with your mental health. I'm not advising people to stay cooped up in the house for years of their life, but try to be smart as you can. And like I said, I personally think that 5 years is the mark. Like, 5 years we'll be back to 100%, but this is going to be a slow rollout from there.
That's interesting. And I wanted to actually double back on the point about mental health. There's a senator, I believe, whose son just committed suicide on December 31st. Sorry, his name is just missing me right now, but he's a Democratic senator, and he actually spoke about it on one of these news programs about his son and how his son was already dealing with so much stress and anxiety, and it just exacerbated all of the depression that he was already experiencing. And so I think, not only just people are dying from the vaccine, people are really struggling. And I know Gigi talks about protecting our peace, but it's so hard when you're by yourself and you're alone. And one of the things that I think was really remarkable to me that Biden and Harris did last night was they acknowledged the death and those who have struggled and suffered from this disease, whereas we had a previous administration that wouldn't even acknowledge it. They wouldn't even acknowledge the people that went through what they went through. So I think moving forward in these next 100 days, we're going to see a lot more empathy. We're going to see a lot of more compassion. And it's refreshing. I think most of us just had that, just that sense of relief that things can kind of go back to being how it's supposed to be, where you have people in leadership positions who are empathetic, who are compassionate, and who are ready to really work for the everyday American, not just to fulfill their own personal agenda. I mean, politicians are fulfilling their own agendas anyway, but yeah, so I definitely want to go around, and we can start with you, Jasmine, if you can just go around and just say, what we're looking forward to in this next 100 days, and what are your final words for Inauguration Day?
Okay, the next 100 days, I just want to be where the money resides, whether that is from the government throwing me a stimmy, or new business coming in. So God bless all the trap niggas.
Get your PPP grants.
Right, girl. About that, I'm about to hire some employees. So stay tuned, because I will be hiring for a graphic designer and an admin. But my final words, I want to play a game with you all called Like, if you all seen it on my Instagram.
Oh.
And this is a really cool game to get to know people if you're in a new setting, or if you just kind of want to break the ice with people. So I'm going to ask you all a question. And you all can go around.
Christian all leaning in, everything. I'm ready too.
So it's 2 questions on the card, right? I'm going to show you this card as an example, but I'm going to ask a different card. So the top of it is more lighthearted questions, and the bottom are serious questions. So I'm going to ask a bottom question.
Oh.
No.
No pun intended.
Let me grab my water on that.
Oh, whoa.
Okay, so what is your favorite smell and why?
That's the hard one?
What's the feel that it gives you? Tell me.
Eucalyptus.
Elaborate.
I love eucalyptus. And that's the funny thing that you said that, because I know one of the main conditions of COVID is losing your smell. So a lot of people have not been able to smell. So I like eucalyptus is mine.
I like the smell of barbecue. There we go.
Like barbecue sauce, or like the grill?
The grill, like, fresh on the grill. So I mean, I can say the Versace and the Del Blue.
Okay.
The soul, like what
you like to eat.
I like to eat. So it's either fried chicken or it's gonna be barbecue. There we go.
Okay.
I guess I like the eucalyptus stress relief candle from Bath and Body Works.
Ooh,
but I also like the mahogany.
From Body Works.
My house be smelling so good. Like, people don't want to leave. You have to be like, it's time to go.
What was it? I missed it.
Huh?
I missed it. What was it?
The eucalyptus stress relief candle from Bath and Body Works. And it's
Okay.
like the mahogany's like tea wood. It's more masculine,
Oh, I love a masculine.
So I think that that's my favorite candle. And then when I just want to relax, I have like a bottle of lavender and I just smell it.
I like lavender too.
See, I like that, Gigi. See, she is a straightforward person. You know, no one can ever say like, "Oh, I didn't know what to get her for her birthday." She broke it down. She told you where you could get it from. You know what I'm saying? The size, the ounces, and everything. uh, I think like cedar wood or like redwood. Like I think of being like outdoors and around like trees and moss and like hiking. Like that smell just makes me feel like alive.
Okay, and our guest favorite, it says clean linen is a party favorite over here.
I like clean linen.
I like,
Downy clean linen be hidden. You know.
but I am I love this candle. It's amber, bergamot, and patchouli. I really love patchouli and frankincense. Those are my two go-to.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's all together, everybody. I love it. Christian, what are your final words for Inauguration Day?
Yeah, definitely. So Biden said something today. He said we must open our hearts, we must open our souls. And for me, I've been working on this huge project with my mentor and a few other national activists and researchers. It's called the United States Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation Commission. So if you've heard of reconciliation commissions, etc., there's been over what 70 of them all across the country, all across the world. And so for me, it's just really looking at the racial inequities that would still exist in today's society. So just thinking about empowering the community, figuring out how to go from there. And yesterday, we were, well, 2 days ago, we released a video with different various artists. We had about 5 million hits. And so it's just about building. For me, in regards to inauguration, this whole thing is about us coming together and healing, right? And so if you want more information, visit that website, usthrht.org. And understanding from like the next perspective, I guess the next step from my perspective is just learning how to mobilize and organize on a local level, being more involved with the local community. I didn't really get to talk about the 100 days. So for me, it's just about the racial inequities, racial healing, the racial climate. As the African American Studies professor, and that is a critical race theorist, I really want to figure out how do we heal? Is there a such thing as racial healing? Can we heal? When we have a coup that's happening, that's planning in the back, how do we get them to buy into Black Lives Matter? Do Black Lives Matter exist? And so for me, it's just really, really trying to push that agenda and that commission. It's looking very, very good right now. There's a hashtag called Breathe With Me. Please look that up. And when you get a chance, hashtag Breathe With Me. And it's blowing up. And so, yeah, we must open up our hearts and we must open up our souls. And I believe that was it. I like the game though. I like that, Jasmine. That was creative.
Yeah.
Like you cards. Get your like you cards, likeyoucards.com.
Link in bio. Link.
And Miss Gigi, it's on you.
I don't know. Keon Bowen got me weak. He talking about tequila made of pure 100% agave is my personal favorite smell. I can't.
That's it. That's up there.
The student loans are. What was the student loans question?
I don't know, but I think that's hilarious. So my final words would be, and I'm going to quote Amanda Gorman because I really, really love what she had to say. Was she said, "Even as we grieve, we grew," and I think that if 2020 didn't teach us nothing else, it really motivated us to think, to reflect, and really to be even more resilient than we already were. And so this year, 2021, I am super excited to see how everything that we've learned in 2020 is going to manifest in 2021. So I just want to encourage you all to definitely set boundaries, do your research, definitely know that, these are hard times, but we're resilient people and we can get through anything together. We're stronger together as a people. And I always say, and that is to protect your peace at all costs. Don't let anyone disrupt it because your mind is so important. And yeah, that's it. Short and sweet.
Well, since we're quoting people, I'll quote the great poet Marshawn Lynch. stack your chickens, you know what I'm saying, and take care of your bread, make sure your mentals is right. No, on a serious note, really take care of your mental peace. Like the next 100 days, just I feel like today I didn't realize the burden that was on my shoulders. I felt a weight was lifted off. I feel like I can finally live in a country again where being racist, being homophobic, being xenophobic is no longer okay. Like all of the signaling from the top down, we saw all of this, like this insurgence of Karens around the world. I just feel like that immediately. I just felt a little stronger. My community felt a little more powerful. I felt like, those people, their leader was gone. You know what I'm saying? It was real quiet on the airwaves today. And so I just think for the next 100 days, take a deep breath. We made it through. Make sure your mental capacity is there. Make sure that you stay strong physically and emotionally, and keep your head up. I think again, 100 days, stay focused, be happy, take a break.
Yeah. I want to piggyback off of that, because as they were going through all of the policies that Biden was going to be signing to get rid of that Trump had implemented, one of them was being the don't ask, don't tell within the military, and for people of transgender that were basically impoverished during this administration. And I didn't realize all of these things were still in effect. The Muslim ban was still in effect. We don't realize all of these things that this evil man had put into effect within our country. And it was embarrassing. I felt embarrassed as an American when I would go to other countries and people would be like, oh, you're president, huh? We were the laughing stock of the world for the past 4 years. And just to look at that in retrospect is like, wow, like I can't believe that happened. But I want to encourage everyone that the fight's not over yet. We still have so much more work to do, and us being millennials and us getting to the point where we can start running for office, and we should be running for office. And someone told me I could run for president, and it was never anything that I thought about until today. Like, I could really run for president, y'all. Like, Kamala from Oakland, like me, and just to really have that thought. And that wasn't a thought I had as a child, because there was no representation. There was no one that looked like us in these positions of power. So I think that overall is, keeping me really encouraged. And the fight's not over. There's still a lot of haters out there. If you scroll through comments, you will see them. They are there, and they are crazy. So there's a whole lot of crazy in this world. We just gotta stay strapped with knowledge, with actual straps, and with the tools that we need in order to really strive and survive all of this craziness. So yes, but thank you to everyone. He said Marshawn Lynch from Oakland. That's my VP. Right. Thank everyone that tuned in. Thank you to my co-host. This. Make sure you guys follow us at @Yep_Network. This is going to be a very interesting new season because we got a new administration, so we're going to have lots to talk about and up on. So I'm excited. So thank you guys, and
big topic.
Bye, y'all.